You give me beauty for these ashes, peace that surpasses all understanding.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. If you're new here, karibu sana. My name is Rozitta. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing the issue of mental health on women. And to narrow down, we are going to unpack childhood abuse and trauma and how it affects us as grown-ups. And with me on set is a very beautiful young lady who is going to lead us in this discussion. And without wasting much time, I'm just going to go ahead and invite her, so that she can introduce herself. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Rozitta.
How are you?
I'm very fine.
You look amazing. I've told you that a million times, but you really do look amazing.
Asante sana. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You also look very beautiful, amazing.
Thank you.
I love everything.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself. Let us know who is our guest today.
My name is Nelly Gishobi, or Nelly Neema, as people like calling me on social media, and you know.
Is Neema like your real name?
Neema is a self.
It's like Rozitta for me.
Yeah, it's a name that came because of purpose and after all that. Okay. So yeah, and I'm a psychologist, and I'm very passionate also about mental health advocacy. Yeah, and I am a preacher also, so you can call me a Christian counselor.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I know there's a lot that goes on concerning mental health issues, especially even in the church, because we all have mental health.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that is only for the world. It's something that is, everyone has mental health. Every human has mental health, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that is what I deal with, and that is what I like helping people out in. And yeah, that's what I do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So before we get into the discussion of simplified mental health, let me ask you an icebreaker. Would you rather have all the power in the world or all the money in the world? Choose. Let us know today.
Wow.
Power or money?
Power or money?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have all the power.
Is that genuine?
Okay, I'm looking at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
If I have the power, then I have the power to make money, make more money.
Use that power to make more money.
I'll use my power to make more money, and so I'll be having power and money.
At the same time, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Okay,
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
So now on mental health, you said you're a psychologist. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing psychology for like 3 years, and I've practiced for 2 years. And I've done individual counseling, whereby I have clients, like one person, and we walk through, a journey towards their preferred scenario, because every person who comes for counseling, they have a scenario where they prefer to be. And so I've done individual counseling whereby I help the client move from that scenario that they're in at that moment. Maybe it's a traumatic situation after a breakup, loss and grief, and I move with them towards their preferred scenario. That is, they process whatever it is that they are going through, and they are in that scenario where they are now happy, and they have processed whatever the pain that they may have been having. So I also have worked with other psychologists to do group therapy. This is where individuals who are going through a certain issue, similar issues, they come together, and mostly I've been a co-facilitator. We talk about our issues, and everyone talks, they are honest, because you want to be helped, because I listen to you, how you went through the same thing, how you dealt with the same thing. So we learn from each other. It could be childhood trauma, it could be about relationships, it could be all that. Yeah, at some point I've also worked with hospitals whereby I've been able to counsel patients in the doctor's rounds, because you have to look at physical health and mental health. So at that time when we are moving in the wards, you are looking at the patients and seeing where you can help as a mental health professional. Yeah, and also I've been involved in talking to schools, institutions on matters mental health, self-development and all that. In fact, I think mental health should be incorporated in all institutions of learning because it's where we are now, and we need to have these conversations boldly so that we can have, you know, students who are ready for the world. They are emotionally intelligent, you know, all those things. So that's what I do majorly.
Now, I'm curious to know, you've met so many different patients who are dealing with different kinds of challenges. Can you pinpoint one thing they have in common? Is there a common thing you'd like identify in every patient that comes? Or
a common thing is that everyone, I think one thing I've learned is that everyone has something that they are dealing with. And those people that are able to speak out, first, it's never easy to speak out. In fact, the first sessions are always sometimes very tricky because people find it very difficult. But as we go along, you find that someone is feeling, you know, they're opening up, they are feeling good, and nobody wants to stay in that situation that brought them to counseling in the first point. So they appreciate it. That's what I can say. With most people, they appreciate it. They appreciate talking with someone who can help them, and they do well. I can say they are better. I leave them at a point where I feel that they are better to continue on their own.
So basically, it's all of them need help. All of them are willing to be helped.
Exactly. And when someone makes that step, they are really willing to be helped, and they will follow what you tell them. So this is someone who has said, I will look for a counselor, I will put in the hours, I will put in the work, because you know there are times I even give homework. So this is someone who has decided, I am going to do this for myself, maybe for my child, and all that. So they are willing to cooperate.
Now, let me be honest with you. Before 2020, I had never heard about mental health. And then suddenly it's all over social media. Everybody is talking about it. But I'm wondering, is it something that has developed over time, or has it always been there and ignored? Where exactly did mental health crop up from?
Well, I think in the past, you know, everyone has mental health because everyone has psychology. You know, psychology is not, because I've had people saying, oh, psychology is another thing. No. Everyone has psychology because everyone has a brain. And psychology is now your perspectives, your ways of thinking, how they are affecting your personality. Yani, it's everything about you. So in the past, I think there were we could say that generation, the past generation X and maybe Y, they didn't have much going on like generation now, maybe millennials and Z. As we are bombarded with information, and information is what affects psychology, or it's what affects the mind. And whether you are in church, whether you're in the world, whether you are a mother, a father, you're still in the world, and you still have a mind. And so we have all this information because maybe of technology, the demographic changes, maisha, TikTok, you know, you are constantly seeing information, comparing yourself, because kitambo, if we were in this homestead, it would be difficult to know what the other homestead is doing. You know, like you're not exposed to so much. And so because all this is going to the brain, to the mind, then now there's a lot to deal with. And so you find that some people are not able to deal with all this. And now that is why the mental health conversation has become a thing in this stage of the 21st century, because we have so much information. And some of this information, most of it affects us negatively. And so that is why this conversation is very vital at this point. And that's why now this generation, we need to embrace it, because we are the people who are mostly affected by mental health issues, because it's not getting easier. We need now to build our inner selves to be able to, you know, to stand whatever comes or whatever is coming in the future. I don't know.
So basically, too much information is becoming too poisonous for us.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
I would say that is the main reason why you're seeing mental health is a big conversation now, and it wasn't, maybe when you were growing up
I've
you
never heard about it.
yeah, you weren't hearing much about mental health, but right now you can hear it, because even children who are as young as 7 years, they have phones.
Yeah.
These children are seeing, they can compare their lifestyles with other children.
Yeah.
They can compare so many things, such things. They can see things that they should not be seeing at their age.
Yeah.
All those things go to your phenomenological world. So you start now, you are bombarded with too much that you can handle.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's why it's a big thing now.
Then can we say it's also as a result of information coming out, and we don't know how to see what is right and what is wrong, and so we're just confused and taking up everything that's coming?
Yeah, I think we can say that as well. Which is why one of the major things we focus on mental health is choose what you are consuming.
Guard your heart.
Guard your heart, exactly. The Bible says guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of life.
Yeah.
So if you're out there consuming everything, it's actually a principle in nature. It's a principle of God.
Yeah.
When you consume poison, definitely your system will be formed with poison.
Yeah.
If you take a poison like cyanide, you're going to die. Your cells will die. It's the same thing with your brain, with your psychological self. If you consume all information, because information is what makes us. So if you're out there picking everything, you are not self-aware. You don't know yourself. Then you will flow with the river wherever it's going.
You go with it.
Yeah, and at some point you'll feel too overwhelmed. And because you made it your reality, information forms your reality. And that's why you're finding that this one is being affected by climate change, but this one does not even have issues. They're not even, yani hayuko huko.
Yeah.
So be very careful what you're making your reality.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where now that verse comes in. Out of the, guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of life. It's all about the information you allow to come to you. Okay. Let it be something that is helping you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in very simple terms, maybe there's somebody who is very new to this topic and they're wondering what on God's green earth is mental health. In the simplest terms, can you simplify it for us?
Mental health is it's that state of being well in your mental faculty or your cognition, or the way you see things, the way see things, the way you interpret them. So it's that state of being psychologically well and emotionally well and socially well. And mental health is not mental illness. Because even me, when I started talking about mental health, you will find that there are people who coil back because when they hear mental, they think mental.
It's an illness.
It's an illness. So most people have blurred the lines between mental health and mental illness.
Yeah.
So one thing we need to get clearly is that we all have mental health, because it is mental health that is making someone watch this video and understand the words, because you are okay mentally. You can understand my communication, because there's someone who can be watching this and they have no idea where they are. They don't know because they have switched off because of a condition or something. So mental health is that state of being able even to communicate. Yani you are okay. You are able to say no. You are able to relate with other people properly. You have boundaries. Good communication patterns. You have emotional intelligence. You can be able to, you know that you are safe to cry. The way you carry yourself, it works for you and it does not affect others negatively. So mental health is that social well-being, psychological well-being, and emotional well-being. That's what I would say, because now mental illness is now those diseases or those factors that come to now make you not function properly socially.
Like in terms of kama we say mwenda wazimu, is that now it?
Yeah, now mwenda wazimu is someone who has mental illness.
Not mental health issues.
Yeah, or mental health issues. Now when you add issues,
It's
it
different.
makes the difference.
Okay.
But when you say mental health, then people think it's the disease. Now there's a problem.
So mental health is not a disease, basically.
No, it's actually, let me make it simpler. You see, when you say physical health, physical health is just your general well-being. You can say, I'm going to check on my physical health. It doesn't mean that you're sick. It just means that you're going to check on how your body is functioning and whatever. But when you say you have a physical illness, you could be having a flu, you could be having malaria, you could be so you see the difference. The same. Physical health is not physical illness. Mental health is not mental illness.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there such a thing as a perfect state of mental health?
I
Can
wouldn't
anyone attain that?
perfect. I wouldn't say there is, because every day you're met with something different.
Yeah.
I think the best thing we can look at this is saying that we have you are at a point where you can process whatever comes your way. You know, you are at an equilibrium whereby you can be able to process whatever comes your way. If it's a breakup, it's not going to throw you off everything. You are able to handle, exactly, that's the right word. You're able to handle whatever life, because tomorrow you really don't know what's going to come. So we cannot say that, but you can be at a good place where you see you're able to communicate, you're able to have your social life going, you're able to, you know, do your things, and they are working for you, and they are not negatively affecting another person. We can say you're okay. But of course there's always something you're dealing with. There's always something you're dealing with. Everybody has something they're dealing with. But then now the difference comes in when it's too much, that it forms a depression, anxiety, and those now conditions that form mental illness, where you need to see a person to diagnose, and maybe
So now delving deeper into this topic of mental health for women, I know there are very many different things that affect women, and we cannot really exhaust all of them. So I'd like for us to narrow down on childhood abuse and trauma, and maybe you can start by telling us, how can one as a grown-up know that they're suffering from childhood traumas and abuse?
Yeah, childhood trauma is a very sensitive topic, because most people have gone through trauma, but they come to understand it in adulthood, because now they realize the person they are is being informed by the person, what they underwent as a small girl or as a small boy.
Maybe then you can begin by telling us, what are some of these things that cause childhood trauma?
Childhood trauma is anything done, okay, let me start by defining it. Anything done to a small child, it could be physical, it could be verbal, it could be emotional, that affects their functioning, their development, you know, and all that. So there are many forms of childhood trauma. There could be, the most common is abuse. And abuse could take the form of physical abuse. You know, physical abuse is where, you know, especially in the African setting, we say that beating, you know, the parents say that we must beat the child. The Bible says we must, you know, don't spare the rod and spoil the child. But you find that, like, when you look at now life, the way we have all these changes, as I'm saying, the parents, some are working from home, the economy is a bit tough for some people and all this. So a person may project their anger towards a child, and as they are disciplining them, they may even break the child's hand, or they may, now that is abuse. You are not disciplining the child because you are inflicting trauma on this child in form of physical abuse. You know, there's emotional abuse. Those parents that call their children names: you are stupid, oh, why do you have a long nose, why are you so fat, why are you eating so much, you know, all those things. Now they form how a child views themselves. That is why you see some adults, there's a way they are, they don't talk, because those things were implanted in them. You know, your parent is calling you names, and you see a child does not have the mental capacity to process difficult emotions, so they dissociate. Dissociate is like disconnecting. You are there in their family, but every time the parent is like, this child, sijui huyu mtoto nini mbaya naye, I don't know what's wrong with this child. But the child is in their own world. They are better placed mentally, because if they come to your reality, they get hurt.
They create a fantasy of their own.
Exactly. Yeah. Because of the thing, and you know, most parents don't notice. So the child grows up and leaves the home a very wounded child, and they go and find partners who are abusive because it's the only thing they know.
That's the environment they grew up in.
Yeah, and if they find like a loving man, if it's like a girl who saw a father abusing her mother, every time the mother is being beaten, the mother is being called names, they are being pushed to the walls, and the child is seeing this growing up. This is the only thing the child knows. So if a loving man comes and gives the girl flowers, hi, you're looking good, they don't know how to appreciate that, because they never had someone model it. So they find it is strange. But if they get into a relationship with a man who is calling her names, and it's easier.
Yeah, that's for her. That's the environment she
Exactly.
knows.
And that is why we should not expose our children to abuse, because you are preparing them for a future that is very painful. And it may be difficult to work yourself out of that, because every adult has a little girl in them. If you tell adults to close their eyes and just help their inner child heal, most adults, they cry uncontrollably.
Now,
because
when you mentioned their inner child healing, is that a process you can take somebody through?
Yeah, that's a process where we do many things, Of course, they are evidence-based, and it's a process of helping that inner child. If you received no validation, your father was always telling you you are stupid, you never achieve any good grades, you now reparent your inner child.
I get you. Yes.
So if you are there and you had, you take yourself through reparenting, because you are the only one who knows where you needed things done right. So you reparent your little girl in you, you validate the little girl in you. You do all those things, and that's why you find, in fact, these people who maybe they akuwa nanunuliwa vitu, when someone gets the first job and what they want, they just want to go on a shopping spree. It's a thing that is rooted in the past, but people don't know, because there was that lack and all that. Everything actually is, the first 7 years of a child are foundational years. It is where the personality is formed, and that is why I think actually, even in these maternal hospitals, maybe new mothers should get child psychology classes, so that they know how to handle this. It's a human being, and you shouldn't project your things to them, because it will form their future, and then maybe they'll they will project the same things to their children. And then now that is what we call generational trauma, because none of the parents is healing and saying it stops with me. If my mother was always shouting at me, I'm shouting at my child.
You're revenging on your child.
I'm revenging on my child, and then my child is also revenging and then that is what we call now.
We are a vengeful generation.
Yeah, and now that is a generational trauma. That is why parents need to take some point and say, how have I been doing things? How have I maybe this thing that I do with my child, it's what my mother was doing with me. I need to make it stop. So we need to be self-conscious parents. Anyone who is watching this and is a parent, maybe you need to take some time and look at how you are brought up, and look at some of those negative things that happened in your childhood, so that if you have been doing them, now you say, this stops with me. I don't have to give it to my children. It stops here. I want a better future for my child, so that they can also parent their children in a better way, and that kind of a thing. So there's also another form of abuse, neglect. And neglect actually is not just abandoning a child that umemwacha, you've gone to another country or another county. It starts even at days when a baby is few days old. Even refusing to change a baby's diaper, and you could, but you're just reluctant. That's neglect. So you need to, those things. The baby has a brain. We say in psychology the baby comes with a plain tablet. So everything is being written, and they form trust issues and mistrust as early as 1 year old and 2 year old.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
At 1 year old, a child has trust issues.
Yeah, a baby knows that when they cry, I'll be picked up. But there's another one who knows,
even if I cry, nothing will happen.
Exactly. That's a trust system being formed.
God.
Yeah, these things are so vital. They are from the first day. That's why we need to create more awareness so that we make the changes from home. Because you see, if at home, if the home is sick,
Yeah.
the society is sick.
Yeah.
The society is made up of many small families.
True.
So if at home we are sick, we come and contribute to the sickness in the society.
Yeah.
We meet many other small families and we become many small families who form a sick community.
Yeah.
So everything starts at home. From the moment you get a child as a woman, sit down and ask yourself, this one I will not do with my child. I'll be intentional to my level best with this child because I want them to live a better life. I mean, parenting is the biggest responsibility I think women have
Yeah.
to form functional human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here is a grown adult who is probably 20, 30, 40, still suffering from trauma, but they don't know. What are some of the symptoms that one can cross-check against and realize I do this because of trauma?
Young adults. Most issues that young adults go through are relationship issues. Yeah, you find yourself all the time you're picking narcissistic men if you are a woman. Let me talk about
Yes,
women.
let's talk about women.
Because I'm a woman. I've been
Yeah.
a woman the longest time.
Me too.
Yeah, you find yourself picking very abusive men. They
Yeah.
beat you. They beat you. But you are there. Maybe you saw your mother always. She's beaten. She's there. She's beaten. She's there. So you wonder where you look. You need to look at what constitutes a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Those things are on Google. Look at your relationship because young adults. That's one of the main issues. So I'll talk about that. Look at your relationship, the one that you are in, and look at. Even go online and look at relationships that are healthy. Does your relationship have that? Are you being beaten? Is your partner a narcissist? Are they using you? Are they emotionally manipulating you? Then you can know, because most of the time you will pick that there is something that happened in the past
That is contributing
it's
to your
contributing
choice.
to your choices, exactly. Or you have friends that are always using you. They are never there for you, your girlfriends. You know, young adults like friends so much.
Yeah.
So you want to relate. Maybe you're in college, you want to belong. And there's this one girl who uses your things. She calls you for her issues, but she's never there for you. You know. So look at yourself and look for characteristics of a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship.
Yeah.
If you're being used, if you are being a co-narcissist, because a co-narcissist is this person who enables,
Or you encourage them.
you're encouraging the narcissist. Look at those things and become self-aware. Educate yourself. Don't be there and you're on the receiving end of a bad thing. It doesn't have to be like that, because you need a better life for you, because that's how it should be.
Yeah.
So
You deserve a better life.
exactly. Look at your friendships. Look at the way you relate with people. Are you confident? Do you have esteem issues? Are you always, looking out? You have attachment issues because you are abandoned by mom. You are abandoned. Yeah, mom is the one who abandons people, and most people have abandonment issues.
Yes.
So they may cling to a very abusive relationship because they fear being abandoned again. So they are there on the receiving end because they have that abandonment wound still going on in them. So we need to just get knowledge so that we can be able to stop some of these patterns that go on in our lives, especially as women.
Yeah.
As women, we need, because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
A little.
Clearly, you're mentioning, and I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. Abandonment issues, daddy issues, trust issues, narcissist. I'm going to leave that to you.
Yeah.
Then we have manipulation. Like, there's so much. We have young girls who are keeping multiple partners. Maybe they're in toxic relationships, but they just can't find themselves living. Or maybe it could just be employment and their boss is abusing them, but they just find like that is normal. So they know these things, but coming out becomes a challenge for them. What would you advise such a person? Because they probably have this information. It's all over the internet. Somebody knows, yes, my man is emotionally manipulative. But Nelly, come on, what should I do for me to get out of this? Yeah.
You see, even that being unable to make a decision is a mental health issue.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because
indecisiveness,
exactly. Because you should be able to say no. I'm not taking this.
Being able to say no.
Yeah, that is, you are in charge of your mental health. Wow. Because the moment you feel that you are not in charge of your life, know there is a mental health issue going on with you. Even if you're not taking pills, even if it's not the things that are psychotic like schizophrenia and all these things schizophrenia, you're not like somewhere in a psychiatric hospital. You have something going on.
So because people pleasing is also an issue.
It is an issue.
Okay.
It is an issue. It is an issue because you see, there are these, like, people pleasing is rooted in, there is a parent who tells a small child, I don't love you until you wash the dishes. You know that?
Yes.
I don't love you until, why didn't you brush your shoes going to school? I don't, so she knows, he or she knows that mommy will only love them if they arrange the room, if they do this, if they do that. That is conditional love. You need to be a parent who makes this child knows that you love them unconditionally. But of course, there are punishments when they don't do this and this. So now when you grow up, if you used to receive conditional love, then you become a people pleaser. Because I want to come to your house, Rozitta, and cook for you because I want a friend.
So that I can love you.
Exactly. It's all rooted in childhood. So being indecisive and you don't know whether you should leave this man, there is a mental health issue going on with you. And one of the things you need to do is just sit down and find out where things went wrong. And if you stick with that man, you just need to know that it will still be there in the family. Even if you decide to get married and get children with this person, they will still be like that. And so this is a thing that you're not just seeing now. It is going to be going on for the rest of your time with this person. So you need to get to that point and because you said mental health competence is being able to say no. Parents should teach their children boundaries, saying no. You have been this and this. No, I'm not going to take it because of this and this. So you should be able to say no to such partners. If they're not willing also to seek help and find out, because you see, people like narcissists, abusers, they're also having mental health issues. I mean, it's a concoction of people who have issues. So if this person is not willing to seek help for what they are doing to me, then really there's no future in that. And even if there'll be a future, it will be a sick future. Yeah, so you should be able to come to a point to say no. Don't say that you don't know what to do with it. Seek help. You can seek help, the both of you, and you may actually be helped. Because when you decide to seek help, then you started the journey. You can seek help as a couple or as a people in a relationship. What I see in churches, most people go for premarital. So that you understand what entails a marriage. Is not just being someone and just being there. So just ask yourself the kind of life you want for your children, the kind of life you want for yourself. Because it will always be at the back of your mind. It will always be at the back of your mind that there is something wrong. There is something going on with this person. And yeah.
Now, when it comes to what I'm hearing is you need to get to a point where you're taking charge of your life by first identifying this is where the problem is. Now I need to begin from there so that I can come out. Have you ever found yourself in that situation where you realize this is not working for me, I need to change, or this is as a result of my trauma? Please open up.
I've found myself in that kind of a situation. And of course, at first, also before I also got interested in psychology, I used to view things just casually. But then it's when I sat down, got trained, and that's when I understood, so that's why I've been, so I've been there. And what I did is, especially in a relationship, I was in a relationship and I felt this is not emotionally, and I sought therapy. Let me just leave it at that. I sought therapy, and the counselor was able to tell me, could it have been rooted in your upbringing and all that? Yeah, and I healed and I reparented my inner child. So right now I can be able to select a partner consciously, and I can be able to make decisions about the man I want to spend my entire life with, and the man that my children will call a father. So I've been there and I sought help. I sought help and I did my work. I did the inner child work, and I'm better now. It's not like those college days. I was just confused, and by the you can get a partner who has also gone through the same issue. So you people, you come, he talks about his daddy issues, you talk about your mommy issues, and you do something we call trauma bonding. And so
you think you're in love.
You think you're in love, but you are in a trauma bond. You are very hurt. So when you share, nobody's healing.
Like this one is understanding me.
No, but you're all in pain. So you need to also be very aware of that. So I'm at a better space now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like this should be like a series or something, because there's just too much.
Yeah, you're right.
And I feel like we are just touching ground. But I feel more enlightened personally, and I think now I'll be more conscious of how I do things, how I think, what I speak of myself, how I view other people, and definitely how I interact with people.
Yeah.
I feel so like I've seen the light, honestly. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Now
I'm going to I think my takeaway is on being conscious on how my inner child feels, and to reparent her. Because I believe I also have some of the things that I still need to work on. And I'm admitting, because you've said everybody has mental health. So I've taken that as homework from you.
That's awesome.
I'm going to do it. Thank you so much.
Karibu sana.
Perhaps you have a parting shot you'd like to share with our viewers before we come to the end.
A parting shot.
Yeah.
Like, take a step. If you find things are overwhelming, take a step. Talk to someone. And, of course, we're in a generation where we say, talk to someone.
Yeah.
When you talk to someone, you are told you are weak. And then when you also keep it, it consumes you and eats you. And, by the way, most diseases are meant from the mind.
Yeah, true.
In fact, most women are taking hypertension drugs, high blood pressure drugs. It's all from the mind majorly. So talk to someone as a young person. Start that culture of talking to someone. And another... what do we call it? I would like to tell you, don't just talk to anyone. There are some issues you don't want to just go to anyone.
Find the right person.
Find the right person. For instance, you come and tell someone that you are not ready. You're still starting your journey of healing. Maybe your father sexually abused you, and you remember it clearly. Or your brother did something to you, or you got hurt and you are doing self-harm. But the generation that is burning their thighs, they are cutting with their wrists, and you're hiding, you're always wearing long sweaters. So don't just tell anybody, because you find that also, because everybody has their thing to deal with, and we are also that generation. You don't want to tell someone who you will hear the issue going round and round, and you told them confidently, thinking that they will help you. Share these things with people who will not be scandalized by your truth, because that is your truth. It happened. And someone will help you heal until that point where now you don't care if whoever hears it, because you healed. But be very careful when you're starting the journey of healing, when your heart is not yet at the right space, telling people who may cause the pain and the mental torture to even become worse. So identify that person. It could be a counselor, it could be pastors, it could be, it doesn't have even to be parents, because as I said, there's a parent you will tell something and they will tell you, they brush you off and that kind of a thing. So identify that person, share with them, and you find that when you share it and it's out there, it's halfway solved, and someone will help you make the steps towards healing. And look at your relationships as a young person. Have very functional relationships. Don't be at the receiving end of a narcissist. Don't be at the receiving end of an abusive boyfriend, abusive girlfriend. Don't be at the receiving end. Just have a functional life in general. The moment you feel that you are in control of your life, then you will have started the journey, or we can say that you are now in a better space. So just look at yourself and ask yourself, do I feel like I'm in control? Then if there is a no somewhere, then you need to find out what's happening.
That's so liberating. Thank you so much. I feel like I just want to continue listening, but I really, really appreciate you. Now, maybe somebody would like to talk to you. They have realized, well, if I'm going to talk to somebody, it might as well be Nelly. Please share your contact information or your social media handles.
I could share my contact, 0114 906 237. So that is somewhere someone can, just call me, WhatsApp, text, and all that. And social media, as a counselor, Nelly Gishobi. Yeah, so I think someone can just calls are the most easiest.
Yeah,
so 0114 906 237. So if you're there, you want to talk to someone, a counselor, you have a group of people you want to be addressed about a particular issue, maybe a school setup, institutions. Yeah, I could do that. They can reach out and we will start somewhere.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nelly, for your time. I feel very grateful, and also for all the information that you're sharing out here, and what you're doing for people out here. You're definitely doing something that's very needed. And I pray for you that you're going to accomplish that which your heart desires the most.
Thanks.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your time. And I hope we'll get to do this. Maybe have a follow-up video. And maybe sometime.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Okay.
It's a wide topic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
really it is.
It's very wide. So we'll have that.
We'll find more time.
In the near future.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So
we have come to the end of our episode today. My guest Nelly has shared so much with you. Please let me know, is there anything we have talked about that you're relating to, that you're feeling in this area? I'm having an issue and I need help. Please feel free to share in the comments. This is a safe space. You can trust us, and we are definitely going to reach out to you. She has shared her number. You can also call her or reach out to her on her social media handles. That is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I was your host, Rozitta, and my guest, Nelly Neema. And we'll see you on the next episode. And may God bless you with beauty for all your ashes. Bye.